I will show you how you can send an email to every single person in your total addressable market in a matter of 2 months. If you're a B2B company and you have a large total addressable market, meaning there's a lot of companies that could potentially buy from you, and you have a relatively high ticket product, meaning not like 20 bucks a month, but higher. So you're an agency or a software company that charge a bit for your service, then this is going to be extremely valuable for you. This might actually be one of the most important videos you watch because this is extremely powerful. Basically, the philosophy behind the strategy is reaching out to every single identifiable person within your total addressable market that could be a buyer of your product in a span of 2 months, and then repeating this process. So doing retargeting at that point. So essentially, every single or every 2 months, everyone in your total addressable market sees your name, gets an email from you with your offering. This is the method we've been using for ourselves here. We've collected $136,000 for ourselves over the past few months with this exact strategy. We've also done this for a bunch of clients that I've listed out here. And it's also the method of some of the fastest growing software companies out there, one of them being RB2B, that actually got 42% of their revenue from cold email using this same sort of high volume approach where they just push this message out to as many people in the total addressable market. And it's extremely strong. And any B2B company should consider doing a strategy like this. What most people do when they do outbound and cold email is that they invest in a very basic kind of setup and they arbitrarily decide how many emails they want to send. There's no real calculation behind it, or they're just, careful to do too much outreach. But this doesn't really build pipeline. It pretty much just drags out the learning and the results are just not going to be there. So the better approach is to start by defining your total addressable market. So pretty much like the full list of companies and decision makers who could realistically buy from you. Then you get the data and you get all of the possible data you can find. And then you have the verified contacts, the accurate emails, and relevant roles for these people. So you can start the outreach. And then you just send and you do it consistently until you've reached everyone in a span of 8 weeks. This will give you instant feedback on what messaging works. So not only are you gonna obviously generate a bunch of interest and a bunch of customers and revenue, but you're also going to get your message market fit. So in other words, the messaging that's going to resonate with your particular audience for your offering. So if you genuinely have a good offer, and there's like pretty much no way in that case that you will not add substantial revenue in the next 60 days by doing this. And once you've done it, then you start retargeting. So the same market, you can do new angles. You have a bunch of data from the first 2 months on what angles particularly work the best. And then you can start retargeting people with the best angle. So the ones that were not in a position to buy or not in a position to respond, or maybe they forgot it, they're now getting the best angle in the 2 months after the initial 2 months. So outbound becomes kind of a circle. It becomes a distribution engine and not just a bunch of random disconnected tests that most people do. So this is how you actually turn cold email into a real sales channel that is actually going to generate significant results for you. There's only 3 reasons why this would not work. And this is an exhaustive list of reasons why it would not work. So, one, you don't have product or service market fit. This is not something that I or anyone else can help you with. You need to go ahead and find this. You need to actually have something that there's interest and tangible demand for in the market. The other one is you don't have message market fit. Luckily, this one can be solved by doing exactly this. So you can do your A B tests and your split testing to actually find your message market fit. Or the third one is your audience does not read emails. Now, this is something I hear often from people. They say, "Oh, my audience, they never read their emails, they delete them immediately." But for the vast majority of prospects, this is not the case. A lot of people say that, "Oh, because I don't read sales emails, that means no one reads them." And that's kind of projecting your own personal experience to a broader market. And I understand why you would do that, but it's not a realistic thing to do because there are so many people that read their emails. Even myself, I do read the cold emails and cold outreach I get. So, and I even respond to it if I'm interested. And this is just the case with a lot of people. So saying that nobody reads emails anymore is just not the case. And we've had clients actually say this. We have one particular client that said, hey, we don't actually think this audience is going to respond. They're busy in the field. They're never reading their emails. They're out here doing all this stuff, right? So they didn't think it was going to be the case that this could work. But it did. They got a 2% reply rate, and over half of all replies were positive. They were interested. So this is the sort of thing that's important to keep in mind: is that you don't want to have these preconceived notions and have them sabotage your marketing and sales strategies. So how do you actually go about doing this? What is the step by step? So as I mentioned, the step one of this is defining your total addressable market. So you need to get clear on who your buyers are. You start with industries, company sizes, geographies, and job titles. The key here is to go broad. You don't want to over narrow your targeting. This is a common mistake I see. I had one company we worked with at Scale Sprints, which is our company, and they basically gave us all these like very narrow targeting criteria. It has to be exactly the sort of company. They have to be in this position. They have to use this technology already. And I said, well, let's just try doing a broad targeting. Let's try expanding this. Let's try sending more emails because I know that more volume equals more results. And so we did that. And we ended up getting them $36,000 in closed ARR in 4 to 5 days of sending emails. So that's 4 to 5 days, and that's closed revenue, people who signed up. So it's important to again not have these preconceived notions and just going too narrow on the targeting. You can even include adjacent roles that might be interested because you can always get that introduction internally. So don't be afraid to expand the roles quite a bit. It can actually help you increase the surface area, get more emails out there, and get more touch points with companies. So you can kind of have somebody that might not be the exact ICP actually champion it for you internally, so you can get to the right people and the right decision makers. The next thing you want to do is you want to actually pull the data. I recommend starting with Apollo.ai, and then you can input your targeting criteria, and then you can see how many contacts you can find. You can also go ahead and use additional databases to expand the search. Maybe Clay, you can use some of their data integrations, Sales Navigator, or any kind of niche databases. Now, for some verticals, you want to go ahead and not use Apollo because Apollo is mostly for the target audiences that are on LinkedIn. So if your target audience is not typically on LinkedIn, you can use Google Maps, directories, etc., or other niche databases. But I recommend starting with Apollo in most cases. Now, you want to capture every single viable contact in your market within Apollo. So now you'll have this number. You'll have the number of people that you can reach out to. Then you want to go ahead and just clean and verify them. So just make sure that you're removing any invalid emails. And now you'll actually have the true size of your reachable market. So this is every single person you can actually hit with an email. Then you want to essentially reverse engineer and send volume. So, you want to say, let's say you have a total addressable market of 20,000 contacts. You want to send each of them 3 emails in 2 months. So that's 60,000 emails. And then you divide that over 60 days. And now you'll know how many emails you have to send per day to hit the full market. Now, you probably want to actually say 40 days here just to remove weekends, but you get the point. This is how you want to think about it. You want to say, this is my total addressable market. This is how many emails I need to send to them in the span of 2 months. And then how many emails do I have to send per weekday to reach out to every single one in 2 months? This is the logic I want you to use. And then from there, you can set up the infrastructure, you can write your sequences and launch. And so this is pretty much what you want to do. And then once you've hit everybody, then you go ahead and you retarget, as I mentioned. So, and this is an example of us doing this. Over the past 6 months, we've generated 1,500 leads for ourselves with a 1.9% reply rate. So this is actual proof because we do this ourselves. We've already exhausted our markets. We've been through all the leads, and now we're just kind of retargeting people, but it's still working. It's still generating extremely good results. And so this is how you make cold email a very, very effective channel and also a repeatable channel. So if you're looking for somebody to implement this exact system for you and do everything I've mentioned in this video, do all the planning, do all the setup, set up the sending automation, set up the email accounts, get the data, map out the total addressable market, write the email, set up the A/B test, etc., etc., etc. We can do that for you. You can book a meeting with me in the description. ScaleSprint, we are certified Instantly.ai partners. This is the biggest cold emailing tool in the world. So we're certified expert with them. You can find us on their website. You can also go to www.scalesprints.io. This is our own website. I have a long video explaining exactly what we do and going through some case studies. So thank you for watching this video and have a good